CBS presents this program in color.
Hold it. I think you're going to like this picture.
Ready? Go.
Where do we start? Where do we finish? No, I'll let you do that. That's all. Fans talking to fans. Here on the score. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a fun weekend, world of sports. And, man, how about, and of course, I want to thank my cable provider, RCN is their name, for not switching over on Comcast Sports Plus to the Blackhawks game until the Cub game officially ended 18 minutes into the first period of the Hawks game. What a mess. Wasn't on radio, Cubs were on, and it wasn't even on TV. But if you had Comcast as your provider, I guess you lost some of the Cubs game for a while. They'll get this worked out in another 10 or 20 years. Bill Wirtz, he probably said, you know what, it'll just get messed up anyway. And he was right. All right, let's do this. In the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to talk plenty of Blackhawk hockey. Eddie Olczyk's going to check in on the celebrity line in the 1 o'clock hour. But right now, let's get into and digest and figure out what the heck is going on in the world of baseball here in Chicago. Man, I got yellow pads out my backside. Cubs, Sox, yellow pads. I want to hear what's on your White Sox yellow pad, your Chicago Cubs yellow pad. If you wish to beat the crowd, I suggest you dial quickly with a fresh new topic, 644-6767, or I'll lead you into some multiple interesting directions, I do hope. 644-6767. Where do we start? Right here. This hour of the score brought to you by Heart Scan of Chicago. Visit heartscanofchicago.com or call 312-587-1111. All right, Nick, handling our phones today. Nick, I'd like you to keep some lines open on both sides of town. Sox fans and Cubs fans equally invited. Let's see. Let me start real quick with a question for White Sox fans. Your number 4 starter and your number 5 starter, Colon and Contreras. Question, Sox fans, is this a surprise that neither of them appears that they're going to be in the rotation? Well, one's already out, Contreras, and Colon, well, when the weather heats up, he's going to get his ears pinned back probably even more than he has been. So Sox fans, and, Kenny might be listening. We don't want to irritate him on a nice day here in Chicago. Sox fans, are you surprised? Is this a shock? Hey, there's a surprise that number 4 and number 5 aren't succeeding. This was the master plan, Sox fans. Question to you. Do you have to make a trade? You're going to go with Richard? You're going to go with, Marquez? Remember what's interesting, Sox fans. The White Sox were prepared back in January to come north with the number 4 and 5 starters named, Jeff Marquez and Clayton Richard. Sox fans, are you surprised that this did not work? Did you ever think it was going to work? What in the world were they thinking? And there's a guy pitching in the National League right now that Kenny Williams is praying that I don't say his name. So I'll wait a few more minutes, Kenny. And Cub fans, what do you do at third base? By the way, this first base problem, which is a bulging disc, Derek Lee's neck. My guess, by the way, don't they have MRIs over the weekend? Was it cost more? What's going on? They couldn't MRI D. Lee until Monday. That's what the paper said. Maybe the MRIs are like twice as expensive, on the weekends. You'd think with all the injuries, they might have some type of, discount deal over there. Hey, if we bring in 15 guys, can we pay for just 7? So, Cub fans, the worst case scenario is that Micah Hoffpower, plays every day for about, a month. We will find out. Is he just a 4A guy, a AAA guy, a fill-in guy, or can he play every day? Cub fans, what do you expect if indeed D. Lee's bulging disc in his neck has to DL him? What do you expect at first base? But the bigger question, Cub fans, 644-6767, third base. And, man, when it rains, it pours, huh? He made a nice play. How about Ramirez? He dives to his right, comes up with that hard-hit smash, going down the line for a double, cleaning the glove. Then the glove flies off, the ball goes a-rolling, and he's there in pain. I've seen guys dive for that ball all my life. Third baseman, backhand, all the way back to Ron Santo. Never seen it happen where the shoulder pops out. But that's what happens when things are going bad. Cub fans, question, do you fill third base internally, or if you're Mr. Hendry, do you have to go out and find a deal, make a trade? It's not that easy. Two ways right now to make a deal, and neither is good. One, you got to take someone else's money. Number two, you got to find a team that's already out of it. Number one, you probably don't have a whole lot of Crane Kenny's, Sam Zell's, Tom Ricketts money right now. Probably not a whole lot of money in the drawer to shake a tree and find a third baseman. And number two, I don't think there's any teams out there right now that want to admit to their fan base the white flag. Is there a team right now in baseball that's got a third baseman, a starting regular guy, or a key guy that they're going to trade to you without their fans going, hold on now. Are you kidding me? It's May 11th, and we're waving the white flag. So there's three kind of flags you can wave. You can wave the white flag, which means we surrender. You can wave the red flag, which means panic. Or you can wave the green flag, which means we're going all the way straight ahead, and we're not worried about making a deal. L.A. Dodgers, they put in Juan Pierre, and what do you know? For 3 days, Juan Pierre's about 9 for, 17? Now, that's not going to continue. Are the Dodgers going to make a trade for a left fielder? Do the Cubs have a left fielder to trade to the Dodgers for a third baseman? How about the White Sox? Do the White Sox have an outfielder to trade to the Dodgers for some young talent? I bet Jermaine Dye could play left field, huh? 644-6767. We're going to talk about brushbacks, beanballs, and the newest thing that Bobby Jenks has really got a handle on, where you fire the ball behind the guy. I call it baseball terrorism. Is that manly? Is that ballsy? Or is that wussy? Fire a 100-mile-an-hour fastball behind a hitter. You ever play hardball? Little league? High school? College? Whatever level. Minor leagues? Maybe I got some major leaguers listening right now. Hello, all you little leaguers out there. You ever have a fastball zip behind you? It's a very, very uncomfortable feeling. And what do you know? You don't get first base, do you? So Bobby Jenks, that was a one-run game, I believe, right? 3-2 Sox. We threw the pitch behind Kinsler. Not a bad idea. No one takes the base. You just terrorize the other team. Natural instinct of a hitter is to go backwards. Somehow Kinsler froze and the ball missed him. It was fanny high. And how about these Brewers? These Brewers are saying that they want the league to investigate Ryan Dempster throwing the ball up and in to Braun. And the reports today in the paper say that it hit him in the helmet. The ball never even hit him. It hit the bat. And the home plate umpire, he looked at Braun Saturday, right? He looked at Braun, or was that Friday night, Jay? We are just reviewing it again. He looks at Braun looks at the umpire and says, well, what do I do? That was Saturday, right? Do I go to first base? And the ump goes, well, sure, why not? Tapped him on the helmet. It never even hit him. And the Brewers want the league to investigate an up-and-in pitch. What's this baseball world coming to? But Bobby Jenks might have the best idea of all. You just fire 4 fastballs behind the guy. Or maybe 3. Fire 3 fastballs behind the guy. Let's get to the phones. Oh, when it rains, it pours. Injuries for the Cubs. Did you see this today? Now, if Derek Lee goes down with a bad MRI, couldn't do it on the weekend, had to wait till Monday. If D. Lee goes on the DL, there's a ironic set of initials. Disableist, Derek Lee, DL. If D. Lee goes on the DL, the guy you would have probably wanted to activate would be Jake Fox. Tearing up AAA. He can play a little I know he can't play anywhere on the field. Play a little first base. You can platoon him at first base with Hoff power. Did you read this today? AAA, Iowa Cubs first baseman Jake Fox was injured this weekend when he was hit by the shards of a broken bat. Beautiful. He's expected to miss a couple days. Then maybe you saw in the Sun-Times. This is one of the Cubs' top prospects. Cubs outfield prospect Tyler Colvin, the top draft pick in 2006, collided with another prospect in the outfield, Tony Campana. Tyler Colvin they both suffered concussions when they collided in the outfield. Why not? The big league club, everybody's hurt. Why not also at AAA and Class A? Maybe that guy Nate Silver was right. Oh, boy. Remember, the White Sox front office was P.O. Deluxe at the baseball prospectus kid, Nate Silver, who projected the Sox to finish, what was it, fifth? Ew. Well, you know what? It's going to be hard to catch Cleveland. Unless, of course, you drop 3 straight to the Indians. Don't want to do that. Royals. Hey, did you see the American League Central Division standings? Here's how quick it changes. Friday morning's paper, the standings in the AL Central, and Monday morning, today's paper, the standings in the AL Central. Friday morning, Kansas City Royals in first place with a 3-game lead over the Tigers. This morning, 3 days later, Detroit and Kansas City dead even. Tigers won 3 in a row, Royals lost 3 in a row. White Sox stay there in the 3rd place, 4th place with the Twins. They picked up a game and a half, 2 games. Indians remain in last place. And Cub fans, let me just say a few. I know the phones are jammed up. Let's go to the phones. 644-6767. Vuk, Jeff Vukovich. You know, Vuk is on your side. He's Murph's nationwide insurance agent of the year. Jeff Vukovich in Park Ridge. He hasn't changed locations in 30 years. You want stability in your insurance, man, for all your insurance needs? Jeff Vukovich, Park Ridge, same spot. Let's go to Bill from Hoffman Estates. Hello, Bill.
Bill, this is Phil. Murph?
Hey, is it Phil?
Yeah.
Hey,
How you
Phil,
doing, Murph?
fine, Felipe.
It's a little early, isn't it, to get a little excited on both sides of town?
Well, you know what? Let me jump in with you, Phil. Last Wednesday, I believe, I did an hour topic, and I said, is it just based on the calendar? In other words, could one team, be it the Dodgers or the Royals or the Pirates or the Cubs or the Sox, could some clubs right now not be it's still early and it's getting late, while other clubs, the way they are built or constructed, could say, it's still early. So I don't know if it's cut and dried based on the calendar. Go ahead.
I've listened to, I don't listen to sports radio much, Murph, but just listening to that, I happen to have the day off, so I kind of, listening to sports radio, both sides of town, you would think the Chicago White Sox virtually can't play baseball. And virtually it's not worth watching the rest of the year.
Well, you know what? I watch 162 Sox games and 162 Cubs games, and I've seen bad and I've seen good. I watch them all, so I'm not really part of that last statement with the other shows. But I'll just say this, Phil, that I would say right now that the White Sox don't have a 4th or 5th starter and they don't have a leadoff hitter. Other than that, things aren't bad.
Virtually, Getz is doing the job well enough. He's holding the spot, probably to...
Yeah, he's a spot holder. I mean, you could do worse.
He's holding the spot till Pasetnik's get from his attractive wife's pregnancy.
Well, it's a personal decision to miss 3 games. I appreciate it. Phil, I got to blast off phone again, buddy. I don't know if it's good when your 4th and 5th starters can't pitch and you don't have a leadoff hitter, but that was all known in the winter when they let someone get away. But they saved $10 million. Sox fans, you ought to be very, very either happy that management decided to save all that money or very, very upset that they wanted Tyler Flowers so stinking bad and Soto. How about this, Giovanni Soto? Maybe you stop trying to pull every curveball in the dirt to left field. I'd bench his fat ass and put Coy Hill in there for about 2 weeks straight, Mr. Lou, until he realizes that he's going to have to go the other way when they throw the curveball down and away. Gio Soto, not good. Sports Radio 670, it's Murph at the Score. Blackhawks, 1 o'clock hour. Eddie Olczyk, big game tonight. Hawks are going to win that game 6-2. I predict. I don't know. You couldn't sit at a typewriter and write this stuff. It's Murph till 2. Blackhawk talk in the 1 o'clock hour. Eddie Olczyk, let's get back to the phones. Cubs and Sox talk. You couldn't sit at a typewriter and write this down. Dave Van Dyke, Saturday Tribune. Ozzie Guillen said moving Alexi Ramirez from shortstop to center field is not an option. Quote, Alexi's going to be our shortstop for a long time, as long as he wants to be, Guillen said. All right, let me ask you this. Then why is Gordon Beckham playing shortstop at Double-A? Ozzie, now, Ozzie can say whatever he wants. He can change the GD lineup. We know that at any time. Ozzie says right here that Alexi Ramirez will not be moved off shortstop. He's our shortstop, what did he say? As long as he wants to be.
Go out and make the card lineup.
I know, Ozzie. Then why in the world is your top guy, Beckham, at shortstop at Double-A? Obviously, Ozzie's just saying this to light a fire under ex-Ram, Alexi Ramirez. Hey, I'll give you another one. The White Sox knew in the winter that they were going to come north. They told you that they were going to come north with the following as their five-man rotation. They were going to come north with the big three, followed by Clayton Richard and Jeff Marquez, right? Then all of a sudden, here is a soundbite. Jay Zawoski found this from February 26th, back way before the first spring training game began. Don Cooper, remember this sort of bombshell, February 26th, Coop, Sox pitching coach, on with Mully and Hanley.
Everything that Colon and Contreras is doing has been amazing, and they're working along. It looks like both of them, if they don't have any setbacks, might be ready by the wire.
Might be ready by opening day. They threw that one in there, right? Well, that's turned out to be a disaster. Marquez couldn't get anybody out, and he's got a bum flipper last I read. I've always been a big fan of Clayton Richard. Let's go to Tom from Crystal Lake. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Murph. I want to tell you you're doing a good job.
Well, trying my best. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I've been for this kid, Clayton Richard, for a long time.
Sure. And
I like the fact that actually he's going to give him the starting assignment on Wednesday.
Yes.
And one thing that I got to ask you, Murph, it's kind of a two-part question.
Yeah.
Ozzie's kind of sending mixed messages about Contreras. He sounds like he's going to keep him in the background for as long as he can.
Well, they're going to send him to a AAA because you can't have him out of the bullpen. He has to clear waivers. No one's going to touch him for the $10 million. He has to okay the move, which if he didn't, I guess you'd have to either keep him or pay him and send him home. But he'll be at AAA. Go ahead.
Right. I was totally impressed by the fact that Contreras got in that great shape over the summer.
Didn't help, though.
Winter. No, it didn't. It didn't help his pitching any, so...
Colon got fatter, and it didn't help him either.
Right, and...
Oh, that's not funny.
I'm just up here, Murph, reading these statistics of the great Northwest Herald from Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
And the margin by which the Sox have been outscored in 16 issues.
Yeah. All right, let's look at a better number, Tom. You ready?
Okay.
Here's a starting pitcher with the Atlanta Braves. He has 7 starts so far, 6 quality starts, 6th inning minimum, 7th inning, 8th inning. He's a right-handed starting pitcher. He's 3-3. He's got 11 walks and 57 strikeouts. He hasn't missed a start. He's gotten his team in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning every time. His ERA is 3.88. Javi Vasquez. Do you remember a guy named Javi Vasquez?
Yes, I do.
Who was he with last year? I can't remember. The Sox? Yeah.
Sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Sox. Javi Vasquez. They discredited the guy throughout August and September and said he couldn't win a big game. Remember? They patched in Clayton Richard in his slot. What do you know? Javi Vasquez is doing a terrific job with the Braves, and would he look nice right now in the... Oh, what's that? $10 million a year. So they pretended and told you that the guy can't pitch the big game. And they dumped him to save $10 million, and now you have no number 4, much less number 5. Dwight, Illinois. Tim on the score. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Murph, long time listener, first time caller.
Well, thank you, buddy. What do you have from... I love Dwight, Illinois, by the way. Beautiful little town. I get my gasoline there at the corner, at the little gas station on my way home from Bourbonnais. All right, what do you have for me, Tim?
Hey, I think we should get rid of Miles and pick up DeRosa again.
DeRosa? You had DeRosa for 2 years.
Yeah, I know. He did great.
He's hitting .241, but he's got about 17 RBIs. He's batting in the 5-hole, and the Indians are going down to tubes.
Right, exactly.
Now, let me ask you, do you think it's called a white flag trade when you tell your fans you're surrendering? How do you think the Indians' front office and fans would feel if they traded any team, traded one of their key guys this early? Isn't that sort of a white flag move, though, and your fans get PO'd?
Yeah, you're right, Murph. But still, I mean,
Or
we should have never got rid of him.
It could. Well, you don't like Milton Bradley?
Oh, no, he's batting, what, $140?
No, I'm talking about over the last 10 days. What are you talking about, since April?
Yeah.
Well, you're smarter than that.
I know, you're right.
Okay, Tim, appreciate the call. Back in a flash, it's Murph-a-Palooza. Hey, this is fun. Oh, you got to see Jack.com. Jack Phelan Chevrolet, home of the GM Total Confidence Package. 5 years, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Check it all out at Jack Phelan Chevrolet. You got to see Jack.com. Throwing the ball behind a guy, it's a good idea. He doesn't go to first base, you don't hit him. They didn't even hit Braun. Brewers want to protest to Bud Selig. Oh, Bud.
Bud Selig declined to talk to us.
I tell you what, Joe Bartosh, between now and maybe 1 o'clock or the 1:30 update, Jay Zawaski maybe has some of these racked up. We have the videotape. I'd like you to, I know you probably maybe even saw him live or to refresh your eyeballs there. The two interesting plays we're going to talk about at 1 o'clock. Brushback, knockdown, call him what you wish. Bobby Jenks, Saturday after, Kenny Williams had said, hey, let's start, right. He never said hit the other team, never said retaliate, he said reciprocate. Very smart usage of the word. I've heard people, even on the score now over the weekend, oh, yeah, Kenny said to drill him. Well, he never did. He said reciprocate, which is, interesting.
It's a very learned word.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds much classier.
So I want you to look at what Bobby Jenks did. We threw a 101-mile-an-hour fastball behind.
Right. Yeah.
Behind Kinsler. And the game, the Brewers game where Ryan Dempster hit the bat of Braun, and the umpire said it hit you in the helmet. And now I'm reading in the paper and hearing reports that, Dempster is going to be in what the league should investigate him.
That's
Brewers say. Yeah, because, he hit him. Now, here's what happened. And you're a news guy. In the paper today, some of the reporters, and I won't embarrass them by giving their names out, but it was not Bruce Miles. I will say that. Both talked about how the pitch from Braun, here's one from Dempster, hitting Braun on the helmet. I'm reading word for word. Hitting Braun on the helmet is one report, and grazing the bill of his helmet was the other report. And, in fact, then it even made it into our WSCR news hole.
And Brewers manager Ken Maka wants action taken against Ryan Dempster for hitting Ryan Braun in the head with a pitch on Saturday.
We never hit him in the head. He threw it up and in. Braun backed up, and his bat was sort of up in the air, and it hit the bat.
Oh, look,
it was a foul ball. The ump said it hit the helmet, so Braun looked at him and go, what? I go down to first base? Cool. It never hit the helmet. And the Brewers in the paper, they want to report this to the league that he threw up and in at our guy. So I'm going to let you review that.
I'm going to look at that in slow-mo.
Yeah.
And I will chat.
And we also have Bobby Jenks.
Right,
I call it baseball terrorism.
The buzz.
Well, he threw it behind him. If you ever played any hard ball and that ball goes behind you, it's not a very pleasant
feeling.
Thing. No, in fact, you'd almost rather have it up and in because you know how to dodge that. You know how to get your coconut out of the way. But see, this way you don't hit a guy and it doesn't go to first base in a one-run ball game in the ninth inning. So
all right, those two plays will be under review.
We're going to talk at 1 o'clock if that's a great idea by Jenks to throw behind a guy. And what's wrong with these Brewers? It never even hit him. It hit his bat. Thank you, Joe.
I'm going to the sideline. I'll get under the hood. I'll get back to you.
I appreciate it. Let's get under the hood. The NFL referee under the hood. Oh, let's get back to the phone lines. Number one, though, let me say this. Lou Piniella cannot be serious when he says he's considering moving Sean Marshall into the bullpen. Sean Marshall should not be in the bullpen. I understand Kotz isn't doing the job. I understand you like to have a lefty out there. I'm not an idiot. The point is, Sean Marshall, I don't care what his record is. Sean Marshall has been terrific as a fifth starter. Every bit as good as what you'll get, in my opinion, for the whole season out of Jason Marquis. Sean Marshall he had no curveball for the first 2 innings yesterday. No curveball. He got out of it down 2-0 at the end of 2. Then he finds a curveball, and he's got very nice third inning, fourth inning, fifth inning. How about Angel Guzman? Let me tell you something, Cub fans. Angel Guzman's got as much stuff as Carlos Marmol. And thank goodness they, with the out of options, they could have released him or traded him. Sometimes the moves you don't make, and I'm sure Jim Henry would agree, not that he wanted to move Angel Guzman, but I don't know if Lou liked Angel Guzman back in March. Angel Guzman's got every bit as much stuff as Marmol, but he doesn't have the stuff consistently yet every pitch. Like Marmol has it about 7 out of 10 pitches, except when he throws that frisbee, gets underneath the, whatever you call that slider, that curveball. Guzman lights out. You've got, and no one likes Kevin Gregg. I don't know why. All he does is continue to get guys out. But you do not move Sean Marshall out of the 5th slot. What you do is Randy Wells. How about this? Randy Wells replaces Zambrano Friday in the rotation, goes 5 innings of scoreless ball. How's that, huh? He gets another start for Zambrano this week. Zambrano can come back Tuesday versus the Cardinals. That's when Randy Wells goes into the bullpen. And then you got on the right side, you got Gregg in the 9th. You got Marmol in the 8th. You got Guzman in the 7th. And you know what? Maybe Randy Wells can help you. And they bring up Ascanio, is that his name? Jose Ascanio. He will now be taking Chad Fox's spot. Who's he? He's a flamethrower who's been lights out at AAA. The Cubs got him from the Braves 2 winters ago for Omar Infante and Will Ullman. Will Ullman's struggling with the Dodgers. He can't get anybody out. And Omar Infante, you know how the Cubs got him to trade him? Jock Jones! So, if this kid Ascano can do anything, you got him for Jock Jones. What a steal that would be. Let's go downtown. Mike on the score with Murph. Hello, Mike!
Hey, Murph, pretty good. And I'm going to go quick, but I agree with you. Sean Marshall, leave him where he is.
Don't even talk about putting him in the bullpen.
Nope, and you're going to probably see Guzman a lot more. Gregg may be the closer, who knows, and Wells may be a wild card. But here's why I call it. The World Series championship Cubs, whenever that happens, is not going to have Soriano leading off. And it will not have, I repeat, will not have Ramirez or Derek Lee in the starting lineup. I don't know why everybody's in love with 2 guys that didn't show up in October twice in a row. I don't want him in the starting lineup. I want Hoffpauir to play first base. The guy, if he just knows he's the first baseman, will be more productive than Derek Lee. Ramirez is really, really lazy. He will not produce in October. I don't care what he does during the season. I don't care if he bats .490 and hits 95 home runs. He will not show up in October for the 3rd year in a row.
Okay, hey, Michael, now I cannot argue with you because you are correct. And Soriano, I was shocked that with Aramis Ramirez out, that Lou didn't move Soriano down into the 3-hole where he now belongs. If you're not going to have Ramirez and Derek Lee, perhaps, but Lou made the mistake last week of saying, I am never again moving Soriano out of the 1-hole, and I thought that was a miscalculation by Lou to make that definitive statement.
Murph, one thing, I'm telling you, if the Cubs are in the World Series, Fukudomi, mark my words, is going to be the leadoff hitter for the Chicago, because there is nobody in that lineup better suited.
Well, the only thing is, I still like Terrio. Since he hit that 3rd homer, he's trying to jack everything out of the ballpark. I never thought this would be the type of kid that would do that. He's not going to the right side anymore, and until he gets that 3 home runs in 4 days out of his head, he's going to struggle. I appreciate Mike, phone again. I got more callers, okay, buddy?
A great number 2 and super.
Thank you very much. Let's go to as polite as I could be, Jay. Most shows, the guy just disappears. Just whoosh, gone. Whoosh, the shuffle. Whoosh, around radio around the country. Whoosh, the guy's gone. So I said very politely, got to run right now, phone again, rub against. Okay, that's fine. Let's go to Peoria. Dan is on this call. Hello, Dan.
Hey, Murph, thanks for taking the call.
Thank
Love your show.
Thank you.
Hey, just a quick thing. When Milton Bradley first came to town, I'm sure you heard him say that pressure was never going to be an issue for him, and he didn't believe in that. And I don't know if you heard the interview that was on the TV this morning, but he's now admitting that perhaps his problems has been pressure. I just wondered what you thought about that.
Oh, wait, I did not see this interview. I thought he was not talking to the press, so you're bringing new information to me. There was a TV interview today, right?
There was, yeah, it was this morning, and
Get David Schuster on the phone. Schuster said he won't talk to the press anymore. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see it myself. But that's essentially what he said. He sort of attributed some of his problems to...
so is that good or bad in Europe? Is that good or bad?
I think it's fantastic. Well, if you got a problem, I think admitting it is the first thing. Maybe that's what's happened the last 10 days. I think it's fantastic.
Well, you know what? Let's think about it. The guy does get here, and he's plugged in the middle of the lineup. And I know people are going to say, well, Murph, you know, he's making a lot of money. He's not supposed to be uptight. You know what? Everybody's different. You can't just know in the winter how a guy's going to react. That's why they play 162 games. His last 2 or 3 games, he's been on the ball, as they say, watching the pitches better, watching his plate recognition better. He's been drilling the ball more on the line. We'll find out. But you know what? For any fan, Sox, Cubs, Angels, Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, after 10 days, 2 weeks like we do in this town to start flipping out, it's ludicrous.
Right.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks.
Phone again. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. How would you like to have Javi Vasquez right now if you were the White Sox? He started 7 games. He's 3 wins, 4 losses. His ERA is 3.88. But here's what's interesting. I take that back. He's 3-3. In his 7 starts from April 8th through Saturday, I'm going to give you the innings he's pitched. All right? 6 innings, 6 innings, 6 innings, 6 innings, 8 innings, 6 2/3, which means you got 2 out in the 7th. 7 2/3 Saturday, which means you pitched through 2 out in the 8th inning. Javi Vasquez, who the Sox did everything they could, Sox meaning Kenny and Ozzie, to discredit this guy to the fans because they knew that they were going to dump him to save the $10 million. They took him out of the big games in September and to put in Clayton Richard. And Javi Vasquez right now, 3.88 ERA, 3-3 on the year, 46 innings pitched. He's not missed a start. He's gone 6 or more every game. And listen to this. His walks, 11 in 46 innings, 57 strikeouts. I never hear, we miss Mark DeRosa. Any team would miss Mark DeRosa. We miss Mark DeRosa. How come I never hear any Sox fans saying we miss Javi Vasquez? Did you fall for what they told you, that he's no good? Now would you like him in the 4-hole or the 5-hole? Let's bring up. Oh, that's right. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Colon and Contreras got shoved down your throats on February 26th on the Score by Coop.
Everything that Colon and Contreras is doing has been amazing, and they're working along. It looks like both of them, if they don't have any setbacks, might be ready by the wire.
Let's go to Wicker Park. Jack, he wants to take, I think, the other side, which is beautiful. Hello, Jackson.
Murph, I love you. I love listening to your show, buddy.
But
just hear me out, bud. I got 3 fast things to tell you. Beckham, he's playing shortstop because I think he'll get more ground balls and he has more room to work his footwork. So I think that's why he's playing short down there.
Well, let me ask you this, Jack. You know the game. I can tell already. You're a good baseball man. I agree with you. See, he's going to be the Sox shortstop. All I'm bringing up is, why would Ozzie say that Alexi Ramirez is my shortstop forever until he tells me he doesn't want to? It's because Ozzie's trying to light a fire or encourage the kid with a positive message, as opposed to when he benched him the other. And that's what Ozzie's good at. Okay, you and I agree.
Right. And then another thing, I give Contreras and I give Colon a lot of credit. I think they're busting their butts to try to do what they can.
Nobody is discrediting them.
And the last thing I want to say, Murph, Ozzie had Javi's back all that last year. He put that guy in every big game we had towards the end.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Can you hear me? Is your phone working?
Yeah.
Jack, he did not put him in every big game.
He put him against Minnesota.
He took him out of the rotation. He took him out of the rotation the last 3 starts.
He had him in there against the team that won the division against us. He lost that one, and that he sucks. And wait till Javi plays on a big game for Atlanta. He's going to choke there, too.
All right, but and you know what? Maybe I agree with you.
Thanks, man.
Now, hold on. Let the record show. I see the morning show has commandeered my Let the Record show. I never put a copyright on it or a trademark. I stole it from a guy named Bob Lassiter at WLS 25 years ago. So Let the Record show. Molly can have it. Sports Radio 670. It's Murph back in a flash. But I was going to say, Wicker Park Jack, okay, maybe Javi doesn't win the big game. You might not have a big game to get to if you don't have him as your 4th starter. You can't have everything. But $10 million, see, they didn't want that $10 million, though. That's what it was. Sox, they cut their payroll, second most in all of baseball. Sports Radio 670, after you won the division. But they lost money. I heard a baseball man on another station who I respect very much so, Bruce, said Sox lost money last year. I'd like to see all the books. This hour brought to you by Heart Scan of Chicago. Hey, visit heartscanofchicago.com or call them 312-587-1111. Do it today. Right back to baseball talk in the 1 o'clock hour. Eddie Olczyk talks hockey. Hawks will win tonight 6-2. I predict
The score.
Eddie Olczyk will join us in the 1 o'clock hour. Blackhawks tonight, Game 6 at home. And Swami Murph said he believes Vancouver has mentally given up. They've tried everything. They've tried tough play, finesse play, pinch play. They've tried every kind of play. Tonight, Jay, you're going to be doing score Blackhawk victory post-game later tonight?
Yes, I will be. I'll be here as soon as the game ends until, the people are done calling.
I predict Blackhawks 6-2. They wrap it up. Vancouver has lost all their spunk. Give me a Jay Zawaski prediction. You got to say I predict like you mean it.
I predict
He
the
sounds
Hawks
like he means it.
will win.
No.
That's as far as I'll go with my Swamiism.
Yeah, because, those empty nets, and it's hard.
Right.
It could be 3-2 and it's 4-2, but it's really 3-2, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, or then 3-3 because they tied it with the 6-on-5. Let's go back to the phones. Oh, by the way, Wicker Park Jack, another thing I was going to bring up. Sox fans, who would you rather have right now? Javi Vasquez or Jose Contreras? Well, Javi, Murph, he couldn't win the big game. Yeah, you want to get to the big game. Then you worry about it. Who would you rather have, Contreras, who's now a AAA, or Javi Vasquez, who's 3-3 in 7 starts with the Braves, 3.86 ERA, gobbling up big innings, 11 walks, 57 strikes? You'd rather have Javi Vasquez. Now, here's what's interesting. They both make approximately $10 million this year. Got that? They both make $10 million. The salary dump could not be Jose Contreras, because you couldn't trade him, because nobody would take him with the dough. You got Tyler Blankenflowers for Javi Vasquez because the Braves took on the $10 million. I'll give you another prediction. I predict you'll never see Tyler Flowers in a White Sox uniform on an opening day. Maybe a September recall. Let's go to Carphone Jim on the score. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Murph, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for hanging in there. What you got for me?
Well, first I wanted to comment on this Maka wanting Major League Baseball to review that high and in pitch that Dempster threw. I hope they do review it, and then Braun feels like a punk for staring Dempster down while he's running the bases after he hits that home run.
Yeah, you know what? Next time, and they don't face the Brewers for a while. I looked at it until like July, I think. I drill that guy right in the rib cage, right about where Terrio got it.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm sure Terrio's plunk was a revenge plunk. But,
how about Terrio? He can't start because of the welt on his rib cage, and then he finally gets into the game as a defensive replacement. First pitch, ground ball, bad hop, eats him up and hits directly on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, everyone on hold, we'll get right back to you. When we return, we continue some baseball talk. Eddie Olczyk talking Blackhawks. I want to ask you about throwing a 100-mile-an-hour heater behind a guy, or low bridging him up and in, or drilling him in the fanny. And Swami Murph is hovering around out there. Maybe we'll get some sports predictions also. Murphapalooza back in a flash, driven to you by Chevy. DriveChicago.com. 0 is the number, it says here. Combined home runs this year by Sox center fielders and second baseman, 0. Jim Landis had 5 and Nelly had 2. Welcome back, Murph, with hour number 2. And the Cubs get their first day off in 20 games. And I'm sure it's nice that Bob Brenly answered a 7:30 phone call this morning. Did a nice job. I mean, what a great guy. Think about it. He's done 20 games in a row. Mullian Hanley and the producer says, can you come on with the guys? He comes on. It was terrific. At the very end, he goes, I haven't had a day off in 20 days. I'm here at 7:30 in the morning for you guys. Nice touch, Bob Brenly. Got a cut of Bob Brenly in a moment here. This hour of the score brought to you by Menards. Everyone on hold. I'll get right to you, starting with McHenry, Bob, Evergreen Park, Jim. But I also want to ask you, whether you play baseball, Little League, or high school, college, minor leagues, professional, whatever, but hardball, not softball. If you ever played hardball, I want to hear from you. Leave a couple lines open there, Nick, 644-6767. Did you ever have a pitch go behind you? So I'm going to ask you. And what was it like? Bobby Jenks, to, I guess, reciprocate. Was that Kenny's word? Yeah, to reciprocate. Bobby Jenks threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball behind Kinsler, about 2-3 inches behind his belt, right behind him. Whoosh. How the kid stood there and didn't move, I have no idea. But I want to ask you, is that good strategy? Because if you plunk him and it's a 3-2 game, the tying runs on first base with nobody out. So, was that good strategy? Is it good sportsmanship? If this is a trend that's coming, do you like it? Do you think that what Bobby Jenks, and it's been done a few other times, but let's localize it over the weekend here. Do you think that throwing the brushback pitch, or as opposed to plunking a guy, and then he's going to be on first base, is this a new wave? Is this a new school great idea? You know, baseball's been around 100, 150 years. You always think there's nothing new. But instead of coming up and in, like Dempster did to Ryan Braun, and now the Brewers are whining, after coming up and into Braun, turns out Bobby Jenks, he knew the best way to throw a purpose pitch, fire it behind a guy. Has that ever happened to you? If you played any fast brand of hardball, I want to hear from you. 644-6767, this hour of The Score, brought to you by Menards. And we're going to have Blackhawk Talk in a few minutes. Our guy Eddie Olczyk. Let's go to McHenry. Bob is on The Score. Hello, Bob.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, what do you have?
Listen, my comments about Javi Vasquez, but I want to get to your question about the hardball.
Sure.
I mean, was behind your head?
Behind his belt. It was behind his fanny.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But behind it.
Well, okay.
It never happened to me in Little League, but I threw plenty of them.
Yeah, but that was unintentional.
Right, because I used to think I was Jim Bouton.
Oh,
sure. I used to have that high leg kick and, just completely lose side of the plate, just let it go.
Your hat would fly off.
Yeah, I did. I had the baldy sour.
Oh, my God. Hey, we all did back in the day. All right, Bob, what do you bring us up to today?
A guy that I'm going to one-up with Javi Vasquez. I think a guy they should never have gotten rid of last season is a guy I wish the Cubs would have kept, but they needed Matt Carpenter, is John Garland. You know, Garland in 2005 and 2006 won 36 games combined and lost 17. He had a rough year in 2007, 10-13. But you know what he is now? He was 14-8 last year, and now he's 3-1 this year with the Diamondbacks. Mm-hmm. And not only that, there were the intangibles with him. He was a great teammate, but they wanted that Orlando Cabrera who came in and was a cancer in the clubhouse.
Who, by the way, is hitting, I think, about 229 for the Angels right now. But go ahead.
Never got along with Gian. Gian wanted to kill the guy.
But John Garland had the intangibles, but the rap, whether it was right or not, was that he was a wuss. He was a wuss.
Was he?
Well, no. I'm saying that's what the rap was from the Sox insiders.
Oh, really? I never heard that.
Well, it could be right or wrong. I don't know.
He was a pretty damn good athlete as far as I'm concerned.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
I know. Oh, well, I never heard that.
But you'd like to have Garland and Javi Vasquez in the 4 and 5 hole.
Well,
right?
I'll tell you what, it'd be a big improvement on what they got now, Mike. You know that.
Well, right now, you know what? They are in bed with what they're in the bed now. They're sleeping the bed that they made, they said in December, January, we're going to come north with our Clayton Richard number 4 and Jeff Marquez number 5, right. and now they don't have a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, I know. It's too bad. And, it's too bad about Ramirez. God, what a blow.
Well, you dive to the right for a ground ball, it sticks in the web of your glove, and you've seen it done 1,000 times, a great play, and then it pops. Hey, that's baseball. That's why you got to be prepared with 40-man roster. Thanks a lot.
Man. Take care, Mike.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Evergreen Park Jim is next on The Score. Hey, Jim, this hour brought to you by Menards.
Hey, Murph, how are you?
Good.
Hey, Murph, I had a kind of a question. It made me think of it. You talked earlier about the, the kind of freak, injuries at the minor leagues as well as the major leagues with the Cubs.
Yeah, if anyone's just jumping in, I said when it rains, it pours. You got the Zambrano on the DL, Ramirez on the DL, Derek Lee. They couldn't find an MRI machine over the weekend, according to the paper. They had to wait till here. Now, this is from the Sunday Tribune, and it says Derek Lee, who was expected to play Saturday, is out of the lineup through the weekend, to have an MRI exam Monday on the bulging disc in his neck. Lee will have missed, 5 games in 2 weeks. Blah. Now, here's the thing. If it turns out that he has to go on the DL, they could have DL'd him Friday or Saturday if they'd have had an MRI available. I guess Milwaukee, Wisconsin doesn't have one, and had a stronger bench for a couple days.
Absolutely.
Well, what do I know? I'm just a fan. Yeah.
they've been in that situation all year where they've been waiting and not putting guys on the DL. But my point, Murph, was about the, I've heard a lot of the shows people have called in and said, what about Jake Fox coming up? He's got 12 home runs, he's batting 380 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the answer always is, he can't play a position. He doesn't have a position. So my question is, if he's hitting that well, and then we've argued it, and people have argued it the last couple of months on spring training about Michael Hoffbauer. What is it? He can't play right field. Lou doesn't want to play right field. He's not he's not as good at first base as Derek Lee. Okay, and then you brought up Tyler Colvin, which I don't know a ton about, except for that he was the top draft choice and was kind of in dispute whether he should have been picked that high.
He got a concussion. He collided. But go ahead. Let's not talk about Tyler Colvin because you don't factor in right now.
But my question, Murph, is, and maybe if Jim Henry makes his, half year, usually you get him in June or July once.
Yeah.
A question for him is, what their minor league philosophy is to have all these guys that are not developed and I know they haven't developed a position player except for maybe Soto, and obviously that's not working out so well this year, but why they have Fox and Hoffbauer?
Oh, Terrio and Terrio, you can make an argument for Fontenot, who was buried, and they got him,
I agree with that in Marmol and pitchers, the position player. Right. But my question is, why do they have Fox and Hoffbauer around this long if they can't play a position and he's basically of no use to them?
Well, you know what? And see, here's where I think that you have, and you're a smart guy, Jim. I think you have to not buy into everything you read and you hear. Now, here's why. On a 25-man roster, I would love to see Jake Fox brought up right now. Everyone goes, he's got no position. Hey, tell me where Darrell Ward played last year.
I agree, absolutely.
See, in the National League, you can maybe, not ideally, but you can have a non-glove guy on the bench. Now, let's say Derek Lee goes on the DL if they find an MRI machine. Let me ask you this. What would be wrong with having a platoon at first base with Hoffbauer starting 4 out of 5 days against the righty and Jake Fox at first base? The guy was a catcher. You tell me he can't knock down a ground ball at first base and step on the bag?
Absolutely, Murph. Right. I mean, I think that's kind of my point.
Well,
I don't understand why, and like you said, I mean, anybody can say what they want on the radio, but why is the Cubs organization not brought him up? Obviously, if Lee goes on the DL, then it opens up the opportunity.
Well, here's the thing. They drafted him as a catcher, and he can hit and he can catch from what, Michigan or whatever. They find out now he can't catch. Okay, that happens. Every team has draft picks that don't end up in the spot. He can't probably play 160 games in right field or first base or catch or third base. Doesn't mean that he can't fill in for 2-3 weeks if you have someone that's got a crick in their neck and they got to get it fixed. I would love to see. And by the way, Jake Fox, Jim, stay by the radio. Got a little update for you. Okay, buddy? Thanks.
Thanks, Murph.
All right. Now, Jay Zawoski, you made a phone call just now down to the Cubs AAA announcer who comes on with us, Dean Ellis, in the paper today. AAA, this is Paul Sullivan. AAA Iowa first baseman Jake Fox was injured this weekend when he was hit by the shards of a broken bat. He's expected to miss a couple days. Were you able to get a hold of the announcer?
Yeah, I spoke with Dean this morning before the show.
What did you have to say?
He said there was a routine ground ball hit to Jake Fox at first base, but the bat exploded and went with the ball. Mm-hmm. So when Jake went to field the ball...
Did he take it in the neck?
No.
The eye?
No.
The face? The cheek?
No, fortunately it hit him in the leg. And it was the barrel of the bat, the broken part of the bottom of the barrel.
Stuck in his leg.
Right. 5 stitches in his leg. He missed 2 games.
Oh,
but he'll be back tonight.
He's a catcher, football player. So he hobbled over to first base with the ground ball in his glove to step on the bag, and the Louisville Slugger was sticking out of his thigh.
I don't know if it was sticking out, but it definitely did some damage.
And the commissioner said in the winter, we got to have one more year to review these exploding bats. He said that. He said, we're running tests. We're making surveys. Wait till someone takes it in the neck.
It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It'll be a terrible day for baseball. It'll be a fan who takes it in the neck. There's going to be a guy in the index circle takes a jagged thing in the neck. Going to be a catcher who's going to get it in the eye because it goes right through the mask, the jagged part. It's going to be the pitcher. And Bud Selig has had 2 years to work on this, and he had the audacity to say that they're still investigating it. My guess is they're trying to use their antitrust exemption to keep small bat companies out of this deal. It's always about the money. And Bud Selig, you better get your ass in gear on this before someone dies, because then it's going to be your neck on the line. It's the Score, Sports Radio 670. Now, one Murph head has phoned in that had a pitch go behind him. Where's all my hardball players out there? You played hardball? and you never had a pitch go behind you? We're going to talk about that when we return. Swami Murph may swing by, and Eddie Olczyk's going to give us a call in a few minutes talking Black Hawk hockey. Sports Radio 670. I meet people, socially or, they go, oh, Murphy in the morning. Remember there was a guy, Robert Murphy, about 25 years ago with a straitjacket FM.
Yeah, I actually thought about that.
Murphy in the morning.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He had a beard too, right?
25, 30 years ago.
I always thought to myself,
he's like a Rush Street guy.
I wonder if that was Murph.
Yeah.
And I never asked.
Yeah, my poor, this guy was
I was like 10 or 11.
This guy's like man about town, had the limos doing Rush Street, working it, which is fine if that's your idea of a good time, working it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Working it. So my poor wife, she'll meet people at her job, oh, your husband, I was on the radio. Yeah. You married to Murphy in the morning? They think the poor woman's married to that straitjacket, which, of course, many say I should own one. No. Well, of course, I was Murph and Fred in the morning. See, that doubly confused everything.
Right.
All right, so here's today's Dave Van Dyke in the Tribune. Headline, Bobby Jenks says the pitch was on purpose. White Sox closer Bobby Jenks surprised even his manager with his admission that Saturday night's fastball behind the butt, B-U-T-T, of Ian Kessler was thrown there on purpose. Asked if the 2-out ninth-inning pitch to Kinsler got away from him, Jenks replied without hesitation, no, I meant to do it. Send a message. Now, he was exactly right to send a message. They had hit by pitch 4 White Sox in 2 games in Texas, and then in Saturday's game, they had also drilled Chris Getz, and, Carlos Quentin don't count because everybody hits him because he leans over. But here's the play-by-play of Bobby Jenks throwing a 100-mile-an-hour fastball behind the hitter, courtesy of Ed Farmer and Darren Jackson on the score. This is Saturday night, 9th inning. Sox up by 1. Leadoff hitter, top of the ninth. If he gets on base, that's tying run on first.
He'll go after the first pitch in the zone. The pitch to Kinsler, behind him. Holy moly. That's been a long time in coming, too. I'll tell you that, folks. Here comes Guillen. I just want to tell you, folks, down in Texas, they hit 4 guys, and they hit Quentin tonight. That was a long time in coming. That's a message that says, you better be careful when you're throwing inside to our guys. That one was behind Kinsler. It didn't have a chance to hit him. But certainly, Darren, sent him a message.
I'll tell you this, if Ian Kinsler, which the intention is on a pitch like that, as you well know, when you throw it behind a hitter, it's the normal reaction from the hitter to jump back into it. Kinsler stood his ground and went right behind him. If that pitch would have hit him, he'd have had a hole through his body.
I believe you're right there because that had some velocity to it.
I think he reached back to Bobby Jenks and threw that one a little harder than normal. Back in the day when he brought it at about 100, I think he was trying to get there again.
Again is out an exception for Lance Barksdale's call warning Jenks, giving him the warning, and Guillen's telling him, look, they've hit so many of our guys, we didn't hit him, that ball was behind him.
Highlights there, WSCR. Now, I'm trying to get a handle on this myself, and I'm having a little problem. I can't decide if this is Bush League or a classy move. To fire a ball behind a hitter. If you've ever had, and evidently none of our listeners have ever had that happen, it's not pleasant when a fastball zips behind you. But you don't put the man on first base. So I guess strategy-wise, you can say, hey, that was a pretty smart move. Me? I don't know if a hitter wouldn't rather be drilled than have a pitch behind him. But here's what's interesting. I'm going to replay the first 10 seconds of that soundbite. Why? One announcer is a pitcher, Ed Farmer. The other is a hitter, Darren Jackson. I don't know that Eddie Farmer batted all that often because early in Eddie's career is probably when the DH came in, but he played, fast brand of ball at St. Rita. Was that where he always talks about St. Rita? So I'm sure Eddie's batted quite a bit against good, tough pitching. But what's interesting is Farmer thought it was terrific. But if you hear in the background, a guy who was a professional hitter, not that Darren Jackson hit 300, but a professional hitter, he goes, holy moly. You see, to the hitter, DJ, it was much more of a terrifying moment than for the pitcher who's out there throwing the ball. And never forget this. In the American League, Bobby Jenks never has to hit. Now listen to the reactions of the pitcher, sort of, oh, man, he had that coming. And the hitter goes, holy moly.
He'll go after the first pitch in the zone. The pitch to Kinsler, behind him. Holy moly. That's been a long time in coming, too. I'll tell you that, folks. Here comes Guillen.
Ah, beautiful. Let's get a little break caught up here. Yeah, you're in the batter's box. That's a holy moly, all right. We'll talk a little Blackhawk hockey when we return. Swami Murph said he'd stop on by. Oh, I just wish we had a few minutes to visit with someone that sees all the games, covers all the games, has played the game. Someone else. Silver line ringing. He said he'd give us a call from Comcast Sportsnet. Let's punch it up. Eddie Olczyk with Murph. Eddie!
How do you do it, Murph? How do you answer things and it just happens?
I'll tell you what, it's an amazing thing, the world of radio, just like the world of hockey fans. Sad Eddie Olczyk. Just doing a great, it's a lot more fun when the team wins, but you guys have been doing a great job for years, fans. Eddie Olczyk with me. Eddie, Game 6. I don't want to go back. See, I don't even fly to Vancouver. I see on TV, there's Rocky Wirtz, there's John McDonough, there's Jay Blunk, there you are, there's Pat Foley. I don't want anyone going back to Vancouver. God love the city. I hear it's beautiful. What about you?
Well, I think everybody wants that to be the case, Murph, that the Hawks can find a way and see that. It's been a long time since Blackhawk fans have seen a handshake inside United Center, and then for all the right reasons. So, yeah, I think that the opportunity is there, and I don't think anybody wants to get on that plane tomorrow and get ready for Game 7 in Vancouver.
You know what, Eddie? It's so much of sports, be it football, baseball, basketball, hockey. It's the mental edge, the momentum. I know momentum can change, in 2 seconds. But let me ask you, as far as right now, a Vancouver Canuck. If you were right now, Eddie Olczyk, a Vancouver Canuck, what would you be thinking other than, holy blank, it's going to Chicago for Game 6. We thought we were going to walk through this. Do you think right now the Canucks, what are they thinking? What are they feeling?
Well, I think that they looked at... if I was in charge in Vancouver, Murph, I think I would look at Games 3 and 4 here in Chicago, and knowing that they were, 244 from winning Game 4 and being up 3-1 in the series. So for Vancouver, to me, the strengths that they've played to in the last couple of games, even though they've lost, the 2 straight, the 2 out of the last 3, is that they've played really well in neutral zone, the area in between the blue lines. I think they played good defensively in their own zone. The Blackhawks have held the edge physically in this series. They have really, the Blackhawk forwards have done a tremendous job of really pounding the defense for the Vancouver Canucks. But if I'm Vancouver, I'm going to take a few more chances offensively when the puck is in the Blackhawk zone. And when they've done that, Murph, in this series, they've controlled the play in the offensive zone. And I think that you go back to the 2 games here, 3 and 4, they were more in retreat mode, especially in Game 4. I thought Game 3 they were really, really good in all 3 zones. I think they need to be better or sharper and more on their toes in the offensive zone if they have any chance of winning this game tonight.
Hey, Eddie, that Game 4 back at the United Center with the 2:44 remaining, I was already turning to the guy next to me, and I said, when do you pull the goalie? I said, do you pull it with 2 minutes to go, or the conventional minute and a half, and then boom, they get the goal. That, to me, was the most exciting moment. But then, how about overtime? Pat Foley, here's a phrase. We have it isolated, Jay Zawoski yesterday. Here's what Pat Foley, and he's so good, he paints a picture with the words. Here's what Pat Foley said when the overtime was about a minute rolling.
Fire wagon racehorse hockey.
Fire wagon racehorse type of hockey is what he called it the next morning on the score. That was beautiful. That overtime was, fire horse racehorse hockey.
Right. It is. And I think that when you've been around the National Hockey League and you see overtime, and especially the dramatics. I mean, go back to round 1 against Calgary. Marty Havlat scoring a goal late in Game 1 to send it to overtime. Then he scores in overtime. The other night in Game 4, the same thing late in the game. Marty Havlat again. Andrew led off the Dave Bolin shot, and you want to be in control, Murph. But I think in overtime, and especially with this young Blackhawk team, it's almost that push and that shot of adrenaline that they're going to play to their strengths. They're not going to sit back. They're going to dictate the pace and the type of game that they want to play. And I think we've seen that so far in a couple overtime games so far.
Big game tonight on Comcast Sportsnet. Puck drop at 8 o'clock. I know you guys will be there well before that with all your great pregame and your postgame. Eddie Olczyk. Eddie, I'm not, an X's and O's guy. That's why we have you. But I've heard some of the other experts talking about the first of 5 games and how different style for Vancouver, maybe in each game. You know how one game they were physical, the other game they were more finesse, another they were defense, another they were trying to shoot more, another they're pinching in, the lanes. How many different options are there, and is Vancouver about out of options, or what would you think that they're going to do next?
Well, I think that they will play more a type of close-to-vest type of play where they're going to be good defensively. They know they can rely on their goaltender because Roberto Luongo is a very, very good goaltender. I think the area that they've really changed since the first part of this series has been in the neutral zone, and if they have no pressure, Murph, they've been having really 4 and 5 guys back, and they've really forced the Blackhawks to become a dump and retrieve type of team where, if you're going to try to turn the puck, if you're going to try to beat 2 or 3 guys, chances are you're going to turn it over, and that's what Vancouver wants. But the area that they've kind of been in between in, and I think if you look at it, game 2, because they were, once the Blackhawks got the big lead, they had to take some chances, but game 2 and in game 5, they seem to be in between, and I think that has to do with the speed of the Blackhawks, the type of game that the Blackhawks are playing. But I think, like I said earlier, I think for Vancouver to have any success in this game is they got to play tight in the neutral zone and spend as much time offensively in the Blackhawk defensive zone, and if that means taking some chances, pinching in the defense, playing below the goal line, if Vancouver has any chance tonight, and take the goaltenders out of it, because we know that we've seen goaltenders steal games and steal series. I think that the Sedin twins, who've been pretty quiet, Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith, have done a great job again in back-to-back series, first against Jerome McGinley in Calgary, now against the Sedin twins. I think that if Vancouver has any hope at all, is the Twins need to get on the board in some way. Now, whether that's power play, 5-on-5, I'm sure that they're looking to those 2 guys to really be difference makers, and I will expect them to play a lot of hockey tonight.
Hey, one last thing. We'll spring Eddie Olczyk on his busy day and a busier night. Comcast Sportsnet puck drop 8 o'clock this hour. The Score brought to you by Menards. I'm going to leave you with this, Eddie. Even the casual fans now have learned some of the stars from Marty Havlat, Kane, Taves, Patrick Sharp. Just keep listing them down there. I'd like you to pick one guy out that maybe we haven't even mentioned his name today or often, and maybe like a scouting report, be it a Dave Boland or Seabrook or Burish. Pick a guy that's not in the limelight, not usually on the front page, that you particularly like to watch.
Well, I think in this particular series, because it's been one of those series, Murph, that has been at times it's been put on the ballet shoes or the ballet skates and go ahead and make pretty plays, but the majority of it has been Chicago style. It's been put on the hard hat, get the work gloves out and get into the corners and really just do the little things. To me, a guy that has really, really done a lot of the little things that you need in the playoffs is Troy Brouwer. Troy Brouwer isn't going to get a lot of points. He's not exactly a speed demon, but he was so instrumental in the tying goal, the second goal of the game by Dustin Byfuglien the other night. He finished a check on Ryan Kessler. The puck was turned over. The puck ended up in the back of the net. He's going to finish all his checks. He's going to be around the net. To me, your role players need to do 2 things, Murph, and that's accept and execute their roles. And to this point so far, a guy like Troy Brouwer, he might get 7 minutes, he might get 12 or 13. He's the guy that maybe goes under the radar, but you need everybody when it comes to playoff hockey.
Troy Brouwer, good old number 22, the winger, and it says here in the Sun-Times, 28 hits in the last 4 games. How about that, with minimal time, like you said?
And not much time in the penalty box either. That's what we love.
Oh, I love that also. Eddie, I'll be home watching on the from the Lazy Boy, and I hope I jump out of that chair and I'll hear all of the north side, south side, all of Chicago, west side, making a lot of noise along with you and Pat Foley. Eddie, it's been a pleasure. I hope that we have you and I and the Score one more opportunity in another week or so, if you know what I mean, to get together again.
It sounds good, Murph. Thanks for having me anytime.
Thanks for your personal time, Eddie.
You got it.
All right, bye-bye. Eddie Olczyk.
Hawks win!
Oh, yeah.
Hawks win!
6-2. I predict. 6-2. Vancouver's, they're destroyed. They're mentally destroyed. They can't believe that this is happening to them. They're going to walk in here. They're going to look around. They're going to see the crowd. They're going to hear you singing at the national anthem. By the way, the great thing, I don't know who flips the switch over there. It's Jay Blanc, John McDonough, who does it. But when the national anthem, when it goes, say, does that Star-Spangled Banner yet wave? If you're at the game, notice, they turn on the air conditioning duct right behind the flag on the word wave. And there it is. Oh, Lord. Starts waving. It's a beautiful thing. and wave bye-bye to the Canucks. It's the Score. Hey, look in the hallway. When we come back, I see Swami Murph's got some sports predictions and more. Sports Radio 670.
Join us now as Swami Murph looks into the future. It's time for
I Predict
on WSCR, The Score. You know the number, 312-644-6767.
Oh, good Swami knows the phone number. Why do we have the phone number? We want Swami. 644-6767 if you're a recovering Swami. It's Swami Murph. Thanks, Mike. Mike Murphy let me in here for a few minutes with my sports predictions. If you had a sports prediction for Swami Murph, dial quickly, 644-6767. Very, very difficult to predict the future in the world of sports, but that's why I am a Swami. I predict Giovanni Soto will continue to try to pull every outside curveball he sees and will be benched for 2 weeks. And will finally figure out that he has to go to right field, and he will then hit .285 for the remainder of the season. Yes! Hey!
It's been said that he buried a time capsule full of things that haven't happened yet.
Yes, I have. Oh, here's a... Now, this just hot off the Swami presses. I predict Manny Ramirez will come back in 50 games after the suspension. He will weigh 171 pounds. He will be moved to the leadoff slot with the Dodgers, and he will lead the National League in stolen bases in the second half of the season.
Silliest thing I ever heard in my life. It really is silly.
Come on. It's not easy being a Swami.
It's silly.
Nobody knows what the future holds.
No, that's true.
My friend.
Uh-huh. I predict, in a highly unusual move, Jerry Reinsdorf will buy the bankrupt Phoenix Coyotes in the National Hockey League. He will cut the payroll. He will watch attendance drop to 1,000 fans per game in Phoenix. And he will say, but Rocky, John McDonough, and Jay Blanc, they made it look so easy.
That's no good.
I predict Kenny Williams. I'm saying it like I mean it, will call the Atlanta Braves. He will work out a trade to get Javi Vasquez back, but we'll have Jerry Reinsdorf kill the trade to keep payroll down.
Oh, that's not funny.
My ball might be a little cloudy. It's early, but we'll go for it.
I predict, if indeed pink baseball bats are okay, Bud Selig will still soon make a change with bats, not the ones that explode, but Bud Selig, I predict, will have each team using baseball bats of their team color. Cubs with blue bats, White Sox with silver bats.
Silliest thing I ever heard in my life. It really is silly.
Go back to work.
Since you've spent more than $3, you're entitled to have your fortune told by the great Swami Yoganto. You know, the great Swami Yoganto has helped people all over this world.
Right. And I hold in my hand the final sports prediction. You try to do it if it looks so damn easy. Got a little Jerry Reinsdorf in me. Hey, Johnny McD made it look easy. Final prediction of the day. I predict Vancouver is dead, mentally dead. Hawks win 6-2 tonight.
I mean, unless you have a crystal ball and can predict the future, there's no right or wrong answer for that.
Thanks for playing Mike Murphy's Score Survey. See you next time.
I predict Swami Murph say it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. I predict that I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully. See you later, everybody. Hey, Tom Troublehorn. When is stat of the week and what's your beef?
Tomorrow. Now go have another beer. Don't bother me.
Wouldn't want to bother you, Tommy.
I'm really tired. I really don't have much to say anymore. Just tired. I'm tired. Done. Mentally drained. Let's go home.
And from me to you, I just want to thank you for listening to me
and letting me be a part of your life today. Because you got a good life.